the hard facts from the CNN News 18 Federal Bank Primetime Studio. Viewers, Bharat, that is India, is marking its 77th birth anniversary tomorrow. On that momentous stroke of the midnight hour, 77 years ago, Nehru's fearless tryst with destiny speech gave the people a sense of Bharat today stands at an epoch-defining crossroad, a fateful point of inflection. It is being steered by Narendra Modi towards, quote, Vishwa Guru, unquote, status, time being described as, quote, Amrit Kal, unquote. Like Prime Minister Nehru, who charted progress as a series of 5-year plans, the equally electorally successful Gujarat-born Narendra Damodar Das Modi has outlined his vision for India in 5 vows or Panch Prans for propelling India towards its destiny, its greatness, its tryst with greatness. While it is difficult to predict the future, it won't be an exaggeration to say that we, the people, have done ourselves proud. Indeed, these last 77 years, we've cradled our democracy, we've held it close to our hearts. But even when it slipped out of our grasp, we successfully battled against its desecrators. You remember the great fight back put up by the people in 1977, viewers, to push back Indira Gandhi imposed emergency. This fight back, this tenacity, this belief in democracy and freedom is in sharp contrast to all our immediate neighbors who also awoke to life and freedom around this time 77 years ago. Pakistan and Bangladesh have kept their tryst with democracy. Sri Lanka is dysfunctional and together with the Maldives is in danger of being reduced to a hyper-leveraged Chinese client state. Nepal and Afghanistan? Well, the less said about them, the better. Today, viewers, stands as a shining beacon of what can be achieved when faith in their own abilities. We are also at that important crossroad, viewers, where we are beginning to define ourselves, break from the past in a manner that will distinguish ourselves and our nation from the others, especially the worldviews that have thus far guided civilization. Western civilization, the cynic civilization, viewers, have been the two models that have shaped the hemispheres where they have had hegemonic control. Today, as the third India is charting its own way, a Bharatiya way, viewers. And it is that vision that is going to be spelt out in the next few moments by President Draupadi Murmu in her annual address to the nation. That will get underway at 7 p.m. as it always does. We will of course cut across to the President when she speaks. But viewers, tomorrow the Prime Minister will also be special coverage as we mark the 77th anniversary of our birth.
मैं आप सभी को स्वतंत्रता दिवस की हार्दिक शुभकामनाएं देती हूँ। सभी देशवासी 78वें स्वतंत्रता दिवस का उत्सव मनाने की तैयारी कर रहे हैं। ये देखकर मुझे बहुत खुशी हो रही है। स्वाधीनता दिवस के अवसर पर लहराते हुए तिरंगे को देखना, चाहे वो लाल किले पर हो, राज्यों की राजधानियों में हो या हमारे आसपास हो, हमारे हृदय को उत्साह से भर देता है। ये उत्सव 140 करोड़ से अधिक देशवासियों के साथ अपने इस महान देश का हिस्सा होने की हमारी खुशी को अभिव्यक्त करता है। जिस तरह हम अपने परिवार के साथ विभिन्न त्योहार मनाते हैं, उसी तरह हम अपने स्वतंत्रता दिवस और गणतंत्र दिवस को भी अपने उस परिवार के साथ मनाते हैं जिसके सदस्य हमारे सभी देशवासी हैं। 15 अगस्त के दिन देश विदेश में सभी भारतीय ध्वजारोहण समारोह में भाग लेते हैं, देशभक्ति के गीत गाते हैं और मिठाइयाँ बांटते हैं। बच्चे सांस्कृतिक कार्यक्रम में भाग लेते हैं। जब हम बच्चों को अपने महान राष्ट्र तथा भारतीय होने के गौरव के बारे में बातें करते हुए सुनते हैं, तो उनके उद्गारों में हमें महान स्वतंत्रता सेनानियों की भावनाओं की प्रतिध्वनि सुनाई देती है। हमें ये अनुभव होता है कि हम उस परंपरा का हिस्सा है जो स्वाधीनता सेनानियों के सपनों और उन भावी पीढ़ियों की आकांक्षाओं को एक कड़ी में पिरोते हैं, जो आने वाले वर्षों में हमारे राष्ट्र को अपना संपूर्ण गौरव पुनः प्राप्त करते हुए देखेंगे। इतिहास की इस श्रृंखला की एक कड़ी होने का बोध हमारे अंदर विनम्रता का संचार करता है। ये बोध हमें उन दिनों की याद दिलाता है जब हमारा देश विदेशी शासन के अधीन था। राष्ट्रभक्ति और वीरता से ओतप्रोत देश प्रेमियों ने अनेक जोखिम उठाए और सर्वोच्च बलिदान दिए। हम उनकी पावन स्मृति को नमन करते हैं। उनके अथक प्रयासों के बल पर भारत की आत्मा सदियों की नींद से जाग उठी। अंतरधारा के रूप में सदैव विद्यमान रही हमारी विभिन्न परंपराओं और मूल्यों को पीढ़ी दर पीढ़ी हमारे महान स्वाधीनता सेनानियों ने नई अभिव्यक्ति प्रदान की। मार्गदर्शक नक्षत्र की तरह राष्ट्रपिता महात्मा गांधी ने स्वाधीनता संग्राम की विभिन्न परंपराओं और उनकी विविध अभिव्यक्तियों को एकजुट किया। साथ ही सरदार पटेल, नेताजी सुभाष चंद्र बोस और बाबा साहेब आम्बेडकर तथा भगत सिंह और चंद्रशेखर आजाद जैसे अनेक महान जननायक भी सक्रिय थे। ये एक राष्ट्रव्यापी आंदोलन था जिसमें सभी समुदायों ने भाग लिया। आदिवासियों में तिलका मांझी, बिरसा मुंडा, लक्ष्मण नायक और फूलो जानो जैसे कई अन्य लोग थे जिनके बलिदान की आप सराहना हो रही है। हमने भगवान बिरसा मुंडा की जयंती को जनजातीय गौरव दिवस के रूप में मनाना शुरू किया है। अगले वर्ष उनकी 150वीं जयंती का उत्सव राष्ट्रीय पुनर्जागरण में उनके योगदान को और अधिक गहराई से सम्मान देने का अवसर होगा। मेरे प्यारे देशवासियों, आज 14 अगस्त को हमारे देश विभाजन विभीषिका स्मृति दिवस मना रहा है। ये विभाजन की भयावहता को याद करने का दिन है। जब हमारे महान राष्ट्रों का विभाजन हुआ तो लाखों लोगों को मजबूरन पलायन करना पड़ा। लाखों लोगों को अपनी जान गंवानी पड़ी। स्वतंत्रता दिवस मनाने से एक दिन पहले हम उस अभूतपूर्व मानवीय त्रासदी को याद करते हैं और उन परिवारों के साथ एकजुट होकर खड़े होते हैं जो छिन्न भिन्न कर दिए गए थे। हम अपने संविधान की 75वीं वर्षगांठ मना रहे हैं। हमारी नवस्वाधीन राष्ट्र की यात्रा में गंभीर बाधाएं आई है। न्याय, समानता, स्वतंत्रता और बंधुता के संवैधानिक आदर्शों पर दृढ़ रहते हुए हम इस अभियान के साथ आगे बढ़ रहे हैं कि भारत विश्व पटल पर अपना गौरवशाली स्थान पुनः प्राप्त करे। इस वर्ष हमारे देश में आम चुनाव हुए। कुल मतदाताओं की संख्या लगभग 97 करोड़ थी, जो एक ऐतिहासिक कीर्तिमान है। मानव समुदाय इतिहास की सबसे बड़ी चुनाव प्रक्रिया का साक्षी बने। इस तरह के विशाल आयोजन के सुचारू और त्रुटि रहित संचालन के लिए भारत का निर्वाचन आयोग बधाई के योग्य है। मैं उन सभी कर्मचारियों और सुरक्षा कर्मियों का आभार व्यक्त करती हूँ जिन्होंने भीषण गर्मी का सामना करते हुए मतदाताओं की मदद की। इतनी बड़ी संख्या में लोगों द्वारा मताधिकार का प्रयोग करना वस्तुतः लोकतंत्र की विचारधारा का प्रबल समर्थन है। भारत द्वारा सफलतापूर्वक चुनाव आयोजित करने से पूरे विश्व में लोकतांत्रिक शक्तियों को ताकत मिलती है। मेरे प्यारे देशवासियों, वर्ष 2021 से वर्ष 2024 के बीच 8% की औसत वार्षिक वृद्धि दर हासिल करके भारत सबसे तेज गति से बढ़ने वाली बड़ी अर्थव्यवस्थाओं में शामिल है। इससे न केवल देशवासियों के हाथों में अधिक पैसा आया है, बल्कि गरीबी रेखा से नीचे रहने वाले लोगों की संख्या में भी भारी कमी आई है। जो लोग अभी भी गरीबी से पीड़ित हैं, उनकी सहायता करने के साथ साथ उन्हें गरीबी से बाहर निकालने के लिए भी सभी प्रयास किए जा रहे हैं। उदाहरण के लिए कोविड-19 के शुरुआती चरण में आरंभ की गई पीएम गरीब कल्याण अन्न योजना के तहत लगभग 80 करोड़ लोगों को मुफ्त राशन दिया जा रहा है, जो ये भी सुनिश्चित करते हैं कि जो लोग हाल ही में गरीबी से बाहर आए हैं, उन्हें पुनः गरीबी में जाने से रोका जा सके। ये हम सभी के लिए गर्व की बात है कि भारत दुनिया की 5वीं सबसे बड़ी अर्थव्यवस्था बन गए हैं और हम शीघ्र ही विश्व की 3 शीर्षस्थ अर्थव्यवस्थाओं में स्थान प्राप्त करने के लिए तैयार है। ये सफलता किसानों और श्रमिकों की अथक मेहनत, नीति निर्माताओं और उद्यमियों की दूरगामी सोच तथा देश के दूरदर्शी नेतृत्व के बल पर ही संभव हो सके है। हमारे अन्नदाता किसानों ने उम्मीदों से बेहतर कृषि उत्पादन सुनिश्चित किया है। ऐसा करके उन्होंने भारत को कृषि क्षेत्रों में आत्मनिर्भर बनाने और हमारे देशवासियों को भोजन उपलब्ध कराने में अमूल्य योगदान दिया है। हाल के वर्षों में इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर को काफी बढ़ावा मिला है। सुविचारित योजनाओं एवं प्रभावी कार्यान्वयन ने सड़कों और राजमार्गों, रेलवे और बंदरगाहों का जाल बिछाने में मदद की है। भावी प्रौद्योगिकी की अद्भुत क्षमता को ध्यान में रखते हुए सरकार ने सेमीकंडक्टर और आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस जैसे कई क्षेत्रों को बढ़ावा देने पर विशेष बल दिया है। साथ ही स्टार्टअप्स के लिए एक आदर्श इकोसिस्टम भी बनाया है, जिससे उनके विकास को गति मिलेगी। इससे निवेशकों में भारत के प्रति आकर्षण और अधिक बढ़ गया है। बढ़ती हुई पारदर्शिता के साथ बैंकिंग और वित्तीय क्षेत्रों की कार्यकुशलता में वृद्धि हुई है। इन सभी बदलावों में अगले दौर के आर्थिक सुधारों और आर्थिक विकास के लिए मंच तैयार कर दिया है, जहां से भारत विकसित देशों की श्रेणी में शामिल हो जाएगा। तेज गति से हो रही न्याय परिदृश्यों में भारत का कद ऊंचा हुआ है। G20 की अपनी अध्यक्षता के सफलतापूर्वक संपन्न होने के बाद भारत में ग्लोबल साउथ को मुखर अभिव्यक्ति देने वाले देश के रूप में अपनी भूमिका को मजबूत बनाया है। भारत अपनी प्रभावशाली स्थिति का उपयोग विश्व शांति और समृद्धि के विस्तार हेतु करना चाहता है। मेरे प्यारे देशवासियों, हमें संविधान निर्माता डॉक्टर B.R. अम्बेडकर के शब्दों को भी सदैव याद रखना चाहिए। उन्होंने ठीक ही कहा था और मैं उन्हें उद्धृत करती हूँ। हमें अपने राजनीतिक लोकतंत्र को सामाजिक लोकतंत्र भी बनाना चाहिए।
Here's the president there paying tribute to the founders of the nation. Unfortunately, independence, viewers, hasn't freed all of us from the tyranny of iniquity. And this is especially true of one woman in Kolkata, viewers, a young woman who today awaits justice. This Nirbhaya was torn apart, viewers, at the hips, split almost into two. Looking at the rapacity, the devilish diabolism, the scale of the barbarism, there was always the possibility that Kolkata's Nirbhaya was set upon by more than one sociopath. Sadly, our worst fears are being confirmed. A closer examination of the post-mortem report has led some experts to conclude that Kolkata's Nirbhaya may have been the victim of a gang rape. A chilling deduction that almost immediately vindicates the High Court's decision to take the case away from the Kolkata police. 5 days had passed and the Kolkata police, viewers, was clearly not interested in pursuing the leads, staring right back at them. Today, after the CBI team visited the crime scene, the investigation is throwing up some disturbing questions. Questions that, quite frankly, ought to have been asked by not just the Chief Minister, woman herself, but also some of the more vocal women members of the TMC, of the party, of the ruling party, that ordinarily prattle on and on about misogyny and female emancipation. Especially viewers, when misogyny strikes in states that are not managed by the opposition. Sadly, these grandees chose their piffling political careers over the cause of justice, and only when their silence had become deafening so that it could no longer be ignored, that they have chosen to speak up, that too in the most perfunctory way. Thankfully, the victims' college compatriots are made of more unyielding moral fiber and have almost single-handedly turned the case into a national cause. But before we go on, it is important to understand why there is such anger raging across the country. Viewers, this is because the post-mortem report points to something a lot more diabolical. The possibility of a gang rape, which is not what we were being told. Forensic experts who have read this report point to recovery of, quote, excessive semen, unquote. The victim's colleagues allege the role of, quote, an intern, unquote, with political connections. The CCTV of the crime scene throws up new disturbing possibilities. Then, of course, viewers, a travesty is playing out. Renovation work has begun, and you can see those pictures of an area of interest within the hospital where the crime took place, leading many to believe that it's quite possible that evidence is being tampered with. The victim's parents were misled into believing the victim had committed suicide. No formal complaint was filed with the police by the principal. In fact, the principal initially claimed the victim suffered from psychosis. The parents were allegedly given access to their daughter's body more than 3 hours after reaching the hospital. Of course, all of this, viewers, is being denied by the police. But taking no chances, the Central Bureau of Investigation now will re-verify the statements and all the evidence, which is already questioned by the Kolkata police. Not just students, but doctors too have chosen to expose what they believe was a shameless cover-up attempted by the Mamata government. According to Dr. Subarna Goswami, the post-mortem report mentioned 151 grams of liquid retrieved from the vaginal swab. That quantity cannot be of one person. It suggests the involvement of multiple people. The nature of injuries and force used cannot be the handiwork of one person, he says. The doctor adds, the bitter truth is being covered up. The CBI must investigate all angles, unquote. This has prompted students to accuse the administration of a cover-up. First, listen in to the expert doctor views.
The hospital administration informed the parents, that it was a suicide. That is very bad. And even when the parents came to the medical college to see her body, they were not even allowed to see her dead body. Everything has been suppressed and not being reported anywhere. I don't know why. What could be the reason?
ये जो प्रिंसिपल है, ये एक ऑटोक्रेटिक प्रिंसिपल है. ये 2 बार इससे पहले यहाँ से चला गया था, ट्रांसफर हुआ था. फिर उसका जो पॉलिटिकल कनेक्शंस है स्टेट गवर्नमेंट का, उनका साथ जो नेक्सस है, उसके लिए फिर जब वापस आ गया. हम लोग का डिमांड है उसको कोई भी एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव पोस्ट में नहीं रखा जाएगा। ये गवर्नमेंट रिटन डिक्लेरेशन दे।
Viewers, anyone reading the post-mortem would have come away convinced that this crime is not what it is being told to us to make of by the Kolkata police, viewers. Luckily, that is no longer in the picture. There were wounds in her private parts caused by, quote, perverted sexuality, unquote, and genital torture. Injuries covered her belly, lips, fingers, and left leg. Victim was bleeding from both eyes and her mouth. Victim's nose and mouth were clamped, and her head was pushed against a wall to prevent her from screaming and moving. Deep scratch marks were also found on the woman's face. The mouth and throat were constantly pressed to prevent screaming. The throat was strangled to suffocate. The thyroid cartilage broke due to strangling. Viewers, this is a crime most dastardly. And because, as I told you, because, viewers, of the devilish diabolism and the scale of the barbarism, there is every possibility that that person in the middle of your screens, that pervert, was not acting alone. And therefore, questions need to be asked, viewers, more so right now in hindsight, because we still are awaiting the CBI's interim report. So let's open up and ask some questions, viewers. These questions need to be put to Anirban Banerjee, a political analyst who backs the TMC government in the state. Mr. Banerjee, I just want to ask you a basic question tonight. Will, after the court order, the Mamata government, maybe the Chief Minister herself, come out and apologize for botching up this probe?
First of all, maybe you are not aware that on the very day of the incident when it came to light, the Honorable Chief Minister herself in an interview to our channel said that if the need be, the government itself will hand over the case to the CBI, because in this case no amount of political tutu mema is required. The only thing that is required is fast and fair investigation, unbiased investigation, and that is all the state government wants. That is number one. And number two, all the information, so-called information that we are portraying, the post-mortem report, the injury report, etc., etc. The question is, where did you get it from? The post-mortem report is not in the public domain. It is not supposed to be in the hands of anyone but the police and the family members, and therefore many misleading information, many fake news, they are doing the rounds, and people are making up their own theories, their own hypotheses. They are free to express their opinion, no problems with that, but considering all the opinions to be actual information is nothing but a serious problem when it comes to the investigating team, whether it is the police or the CBI, it doesn't matter. You are completely within your rights if you want to point out to the lapses of the Kolkata police. That is fine. But while trying to point that out, if you make up some story that this is what happened, that is what happened, when in reality nobody knows what happened as such, then in that case that is a very big problem. The Kolkata police got 4 days of time. People are saying that they could not do their job. Okay, fine, I can agree with that. The High Court says that the CBI has got 3 weeks of time to put in their first report. So 4 days for the Kolkata police, but 21 days for the CBI. Do you think this is justice? All we really want, it is whether it is the Kolkata police or the CBI in this case, the truth must come out. There has been no attempt to cover up by the Kolkata police once the CP came to the scene and the Honorable Chief Minister herself was in contact with the family members.
Okay, Mr.
There
Banerjee,
might have been some foul play by the hospital administration in the early hours. Even
play.
if it is that, nobody wants to shield them. Let the CBI catch them. Let the CBI
Can I
punish
ask you a
them.
question,
Let the
Mr.
courts
Banerjee,
punish
a
them.
counter question?
No problems. We want the truth to come out. Yes,
can I
sure.
ask you a counter question?
Sure, sure.
You
Sure.
suggest that there might have been foul play. The foul play was under the watch of a principal. The principal resigns under pressure, taking responsibility. But your state government reappoints him within 4 hours to another college. Now, a principal that could not secure students' wards under his watch. How do you expect that incompetent and perhaps, I don't know, but from what the person has done, it would appear to be collusive. You want that person now to go and sit and govern another college. What explains that, sir, if it is not bias? If it is not an attempt if it's not an attempt to trivialize a crime this foul, please tell me.
Okay, do you think the Honorable Chief Minister, when she herself called up the family members of the victim on the very day that the incident came to light, she went to visit their family
Mr.
in
Banerjee,
their
answer the
home
question.
in Kodhpur,
Answer
their
the
native
question.
place.
Politicians
All
are
this
very
is
good.
Trivializing.
No, one second.
Yes, I am
Politicians are very good at playing to the gallery.
Okay,
Do you know what she said there, viewers? Do you know what the Chief Minister said there, viewers? Quote unquote, she says, yes, I don't mind handing this matter over to the CBI, but their conviction rate is much to be desired. Now, viewers, a simple fact check will tell you that the CBI's conviction rate in crimes against women is as high as 68%. It is the West Bengal government police, viewers, that has a conviction rate of 2.5% and a case pendency rate of 98.5%, viewers. So the chances are 98% chance that this case would have gone nowhere. It would remain. Dr. Ranganathan first and then the BJP national spokesperson Sanju Verma. Dr. Ranganathan, I've come to you first so that people don't say that I'm immediately politicizing this, because you see, there are still referees, umpires, like the Sagrika Ghosh, others, who will sit and evaluate not their chief minister's performance, but my performance tonight, or yours. So I want to ask you, Dr. Ranganathan, should the Chief Minister of the state apologize, or am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. Both very briefly, because both are very important. Number one, on the issue of apathy bordering on diffidence, bordering on cruelty shown by the state government and the state and national media in general. Rahul, seldom can one feel the sense of outrage and helplessness as one did yesterday upon learning that the Chief Minister of Bengal, who is also the Health Minister, appointed the principal of the medical college where the gruesome rape had taken place until the investigation was even completed. She appointed him as the principal of one of the most prestigious medical colleges of India, Calcutta National Medical College. Under this man's watch, the brutal crime took place. Under this man's watch, the staff tried to water down the crime as suicide. Under his watch, there was inertia in registering the case. All this came out in the High Court hearing that thankfully, through the Chief Justice, ordered this man to not take the new appointment. The High Court stepped in. Did the TMC apologize for this? Did the media outrage on this? And this right here, Rahul, is what has happened to our national psyche. We operate with double standards. Rahul, by the time this debate finishes, 51 crimes against women would have been reported. 51, almost one a minute. Bengal's rate of crime against women is 71.8, higher than UP and Karnataka. You have to understand the opposition's way of working. It outrages selectively and only highlights crimes in BJP-ruled states, because then you can speak to power and criticize Modi, because only Modi is in power, Didi is not. The sheer brazenness with which the opposition parties ignore crimes against women when they or their alliance partners are to blame is just unbelievable. There are dozens of examples of police and administrative inaction in non-BJP ruled states, but let me give you just one, the most recent one. Remember Ms. Swati Maliwal was slapped on the face multiple times, assaulted on her chest and lower body. All this while Kejriwal, the Delhi chief minister, was inside his house. a few feet away. If a sitting woman BJP MP was assaulted inside a sitting BJP Chief Minister's house, the United Nations would have been asked to step in by now, demanding sanctions against India. Now, on the second but equally important issue, Rahul, I cannot believe our country can be so cruel towards our doctors. They are our real heroes. They work tirelessly to save millions of lives. Sometimes they work continuously for days without sleep. They earn a pittance. They cannot even protest like bankers and bureaucrats as their work comes under essential services. 1,600 of them died during COVID, saving our lives. And here is the thing, 75% of Indian doctors have faced physical violence while on duty,
Yes.
while saving our lives. The Health Professional Protection Bill has been languishing for 2 years after it was tabled in the parliament. Who is responsible? Why is this delay? Rahul, a nation that does not respect its doctors can never be cured. Never.
Can never be cured. Let me bring in Sanju Verma. Sanju Verma, Mamata Banerjee has said in about 10 minutes ago that they have got one issue, referring to the BJP. And now they are trying for, and she uses a colloquial word which I don't understand, but they can do so. Who all are defaming not students but political parties. So she's accusing you of running a malicious propaganda malign campaign.
Rahul, today I will not allow this debate to be derailed by the malicious allegations and reckless rhetoric of a debilitated opposition, especially when it comes to safety of women in West Bengal. I am appalled that the very leftist lot, when they ask Modi questions on social media, since social media is a powerful tool, we are criticized, we are rubbish day and night, but we don't randomly block journalists. Right from Sagarika Ghosh, the Rajya Sabha TMC MP, to Mahua Maitra, the Krishnanagar MP, rather than showing an amount of empathy, an element of sympathy, blocking people is what these two women have been doing, but they are not the moot point of discussion. I will come straight to one very important fact. This is not the BJP, this is not Narendra Modi, Sanju Verma, Amit Shah, so on and so forth, who have made these startling remarks. Rather, I would say embarrassing remarks at the incompetence of Mamata Banerjee, at the horrendous nature of the gory crime that occurred on the 9th of August. This is what the acting Chief Justice of the Kolkata High Court says in 20 seconds. Referring to Professor Sandeep Ghosh, the court says, no man is above the law. How did he step down and then be rewarded with another responsibility? Why do you protect him? You as in Sandeep Ghosh. Let him tell the truth. Something is missing there. Something is missing here. And then the court says, if a doctor does not show empathy, who will? Referring to Sandeep Ghosh, who tried to pass on the gory crime as suicide. And then the Chief Justice, acting Chief Justice of the Kolkata High Court said this. Is it true that the condition in which the body was found was gruesome, but the state registered a suicide case? Can't you show an element of sensitivity? Is it true that the parents were not allowed to receive the body till much later after 3 hours, despite their consistent pleas? Forget about bringing the entire campus under CCTV. Given the state of law and order, you should bring the entire state under CCTV, you as in Mamata Banerjee. And then the acting Chief Justice also said, grave doubts have been raised, and rightfully so, about the sufficiency of the ongoing probe. I think this is not just castigation. This is condemnation of the law and order situation, which has taken a flying leap out of the window under Mamata Banerjee. And I want to ask you, Rahul, you know, the TMC says that humne sabse zyada mahila candidates ko, you know, we've given tickets. You know, we have 11 MPs from West Bengal in Lok Sabha. Has Mahua Maitra condemned this? Has Sagarika Ghosh condemned it? Has Kakoli Dastidar condemned it? Has Sayoni Ghosh condemned it? Has Shashi Panja, who's the WCD minister, condemned it? Mamata Banerjee is not just the chief minister, but the home minister. Has she condemned it? Rather than making this about the BJP, making this about the CBI versus the Kolkata police. And my final question is this. The acting Chief Justice said one very important thing. He said this man, referring to Sandeep Ghosh, this man should be sitting at home.
Yes.
He should not be working anywhere. And imagine, within 6 hours, not even 12 hours, he is reinstated, or should I say promoted, as the principal of Kolkata National Medical College, which,
Yes.
as Dr. Ranganathan said, is one of the most prestigious institutes. थोड़ी शर्म बची है.
And do you know, viewers?
थोड़ी शर्म आती है आपको?
And do you know, viewers, who stood up to this decision? It was the students. They locked their gates. They said, we are not going to allow this man into our campus. Can you believe it, viewers? What a slap across the administration's face. The arrogance of the administration, blighted. Now, very quickly, Mr. Banerjee, I don't expect you to perhaps answer this straight, and that's okay. But I want to ask you, when a court says grave doubts about the sufficiency of the probe, can we then just assume that the Kolkata police was incompetent? Or should we assume that it was colluding actively? I want to ask you, sir, please explain. When the court itself says, not Rahul Shivshankar, when the court says this, why should we believe it was only incompetence?
Okay, and that very court was not happy with the investigation of the Kolkata police, which was conducted for 4 days, and that very court wanted the CBI to put in its preliminary
What are you
report
implying?
after 21 days.
What are you implying?
So I just leave it to the viewers.
Oh.
I'm implying nothing. I just
You are
leave it
not
to the
implying
viewers, the
anything. He
intelligent
leaves
enough.
it to the viewers.
Whether 21 days is less than 4 days or not more. I
Okay,
don't
viewers, if a case is not open and shut, if it has many layers, should we not give the investigative agency that wants to do an honest job some time? Because it was open and shut for the Kolkata police, viewers, they didn't need to do very much. 4 days is sufficient to botch up and cover up.
Around 10 seconds.
No, 1 second. I have to move on, Ms. Verma. I'm just saying, fundamentally this, and it's an important point. There are 3 problems here, viewers. There is one of selective condemnation, selective responsibility. Very important. All those ladies sitting to the right of your screens, those members of parliament, the chief minister of the state today, that talk relentlessly, as I said, prattle on and on and on, day after day about misogyny, etc. today, have betrayed the cause of female emancipation, viewers. Never forget that. Number 2, there is the possibility looming large of a massive cover-up because there are important people involved in what could be a gang rape, viewers. 3, arrogance. Arrogance that we will give the people as we choose. So if an individual has betrayed Kolkata's Nirbhaya, lied in effect, viewers, to suppress information, perhaps even leaned upon one of his underlings to ring up the parents and tell them that their daughter committed suicide, viewers, that person, when he quits, is reappointed within 4 hours. It's that very give them cake attitude, viewers, of a queen. A queen, viewers, who held the people in contempt. Now, viewers, I leave you to think about these issues. And I leave you to ask some questions. And I hope that you will mobilize yourselves, maybe on social media, and ask those questions of those ladies sitting to the right of your screens. You should, if I were you, see their responses. Viewers, I need to move on, because when we talk about justice, we cannot forget about another travesty. When the piercing glare of the world began to strip away the thin patina of mendacity, when Hindus for one spoke up as one, Muhammad Yunus, the interim head of the Bangladesh government, couldn't help but bring himself to acknowledge the rising tide of xenophobia directed against the minority community in his own country. In a show of solidarity, Yunus landed up with an entourage of worthies from his administration at an iconic Hindu temple in the heart of Dhaka. There you can see him, viewers, smiling as if they were there for a ribbon cutting ceremony, not a solemn occasion. Nonetheless, here at this temple, he made it a point to reassure Hindus that he was a secular-minded liberal committed to the language of human rights. But no amount of posing for the cameras in starched kurtas at Hindu temples can heal the wounds of Hindus in Bangladesh. Only justice can do that, justice that is done and seen to be done. Sadly, there is no indication forthcoming from the Yunus-led interim administration that it is committed to delivering it. On the contrary, the state seems intent upon viewing guilt through a highly selective lens. A decision has been taken to only prosecute one set of rioters in Bangladesh. So those who did the deposed Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina's bidding by violently cracking down on her opponents will go to jail. But those who participated in the post-coup retributive bloodletting will escape censure. Viewers, they will all escape censure. Which means, viewers, that those that attacked Hindus, this selective promise of justice means that those that attacked Bangladeshi Hindus, who are seen, unfortunately, as pro-Hasina and thus targeted, all those, viewers, will not be brought to justice. And in the process, Bangladeshi Hindus will be denied the right to legal redress. And I want to ask some fundamental questions tonight, viewers, and let's open this up. First, let me bring in Dr. Ranganathan, and then I want to bring in a notable journalist from Bangladesh. Dr. Ranganathan, we have Mr. Khalidi with us. He's the editor-in-chief of a very well-respected Bangladeshi news portal. I want you to first tell me, Dr. Ranganathan, do you believe, after yesterday's visit to a temple, that the Yunus government, the interim government, is committed to providing justice to the minority community, especially the Hindu community?
Rahul, he might be committed, but that does not change the situation on the ground. It is out of his control. Let me repeat this. The genie is out of the bottle, like it was in Pakistan, like it was in erstwhile before Ms. Sheikh Hasina came to power, like it has been in most Islamic countries. The fact of the matter is that even under Sheikh Hasina, Hindus were being discriminated against, they were being killed, raped, their houses and properties pillaged. The situation is calamitous. But the point here, I want to make this important point. Yes, there are people who are legitimately blaming the Bangladesh authorities. Yes, because in district after district, Lalmonirhat, Chandarpur, Hathibanda, Panchgarh, Pataukhali, in fact 27 districts till the last count, Hindu houses have been torched, shops looted, temples desecrated, ISKCON temple vandalized, deities burned. Yes, that has happened. But are we repeating the facts out here? Yes. The fact is that 11.3 million Bangladeshi Hindus were forced to flee between 64 and 2013. Yes, it's a fact. Yes, it's a fact that 2.4 million perished in 1970-71 genocide. Yes, it's a fact that 1.2 million Hindu families have since been dispossessed of 2 million acres of land. These are all facts.
Yes.
But we can't do anything about it. The question I want to pose, Rahul, through you, is what is in our hands? We have the CAA. It must no longer be remaining an amnesty. We have to arm it. We have to use the authority at our command. We cannot just let thousands of Hindus waiting patiently chest deep in water of Teesta, infested with snakes and alligators, waiting for us to open the doors when we haven't opened them for 4 days. The least we can do is set up detention centers on our side of the border to at least give them some breathing space so that they don't have to return to certain death. I don't blame the Bangladeshi authorities or Islamists. That's what they do. I am blaming us. What are we doing, Rahul?
Absolutely. Dr. Ranganathan, on both accounts, many people will identify with your point of view. Mr. Khalidi, are some lives cheaper than others, more disposable than others in Bangladesh? If not, why aren't cases being filed against those who indulged in post-coup retributive justice? Why only those that crack down on the protesters?
Problem is perpetrators have never been brought to justice, have never been punished in this country. Even when Sheikh Hasina was calling the shots, when even in the early 70s, immediately after independence, when two generals ruled this country, when Khaleda Zia was in power, Sheikh Hasina ran this country for 21 years in the last 30 years, out of 30, 21 out of 30. So politicians have acted like criminals here. So unless and until you can fix it with the politicians, this will continue. And this time what happened is almost everyone, not just Hindus, anyone who's remotely linked to Sheikh Hasina has been attacked. Armed activists and leaders at all levels have been attacked. So this is a different situation. It's not just, the Hindus were attacked. No, everyone was attacked. So, and another problem was first 3 days, there was no government. Police was completely dysfunctional, was not working at all for the first time in the history of Bangladesh. For the first time in the history of Bangladesh, almost all members of parliament went into hiding. For the first time in the history of Bangladesh, all the police stations were closed. So it was absolute chaos. So it took a few days for the new government to take over, And I think things will start improving because there are some sane elements in this new administration who will not try to play foul with India.
But
because,
Mr. Khalidi, let me ask you. Yes, they might
yes.
be well-intentioned. They might understand. 1 second, Dr. Ranganathan. Just give me 30 seconds. Mr. Khalidi, while they might be well-intentioned, they might recognize the reality and perhaps at one level the power differential between India and Bangladesh. Isn't it a fact that this new interim administration is constitutive of also a group that makes no secret of disdain for progressive secular liberalism? It is an intensely conservative organization that openly canvasses for an Islamic state run on Sharia law. The HEI, as we know, is the Hifazat-e-Islam, has also decidedly revanchist, if not exclusivist tendencies, and it has attacked Hindus.
You see, that's a fact. That's not, they are some of the components of this new government, I think at least one of them is in the cabinet.
Yeah.
This protest, this campaign, anti-Hasina campaign, had overwhelming support from certain groups of people. You know that, and please remember that I'm here in Dhaka, in Bangladesh. So I cannot say something.
No, I understand. So how then?
Yes.
Then are you saying that things could?
Yes, they are there.
Yeah. How then?
Because
can you say
there are some elements. I personally know some of these cabinet members. Their left-wing past. They are anti-Army League, but they have this left-wing credentials, and they will probably try to do something about it because.
Okay. They will try to do something about it.
Because ultimately they have to do business with India.
Okay.
And it's the fact that the India borders on three sides.
That's true.
That is
true. There is geography, but Dr. Ranganathan, there is also unfortunately an ideology.
Now, as I with due respect to Mr. Khalidi, I want to say the following, that I just hope it is conscious watering down of religious zealotry and bigotry on display and not subconscious. Because I want to ask him, was Lord Krishna, was Lord Jagannath also with Sheikh Hasina? Why were their idols desecrated? Why were the Hindu temples burnt? Were the Hindu deities also with Sheikh Hasina, sir? Please do not water down the crimes that are happening because of religious fundamentalism. Please don't do that. That is even more hurtful.
Let me tell you, whenever Hindus or other minority groups, for example, Buddhists came under attack, based on a fake social media post, and in Ramu, in southwestern, is that southwestern? Southeastern Bangladesh, yes. Southeastern Bangladesh. So all these temples were, vandalized, people were attacked, their homes burned down. It happened. It's not just Hindus. Anyone who is vulnerable in this society. We're not a very advanced society. Anyone who is vulnerable, not just the Hindus or the Buddhists or the Christians, anyone who cannot protest, who cannot stand up to them, comes on that.
Well, at least, Mr. Khalidi, you have been objective. I mean, I cannot fault you for not being objective. Obviously, you have your compulsions, you're sitting in Dhaka, it's not easy. I understand that.
It's never been easy.
But
Even under Sheikh Hasina, it wasn't easy.
But in your honesty, unfortunately, viewers,
Yeah.
we have also realized that hope doesn't live eternal for the Hindus there. And therefore, what Dr. Ranganathan was saying perhaps needs to be heard more loudly by our administration. Hopefully, the Indian government will do something. I leave it at this, viewers, on a prayer, and I'm wishing you in advance Happy Independence Day.
Thank you for making us proud. Co-powered by
Namaste, Jai Hind, and a very, very happy Independence Day, even as he gets out into what's going to be a very hectic 24 to 48 hours. Not that otherwise it's not a hectic schedule. He's just agreed to give us some time to speak with us on the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir and the security situation. The DGP of J&K, Shri R.R. Swain.